Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team make it all possible for us to do this Monday through Friday. Good to have you with us. Thanks for the view and thanks for the listen. For the last 4 decades, the Pew Research Center has been regarded in this country as one of the most complete and one of the most thorough research centers in America to find out exactly what is happening. The sociological trend, the economic trend that has taken place in this country is now front and center. We talk and have talked about it for years, the dwindling middle class in America. It is now officially documented by the Pew Research Center. I have maintained the position that the attack on labor in this country for the last 40 years is the culprit, has been the engine for the right wing to divide us economically and drive the income to the top. The union busting that's taken place, the attack on voices in the workplace, the effort to destroy the National Labor Relations Board. I mean, it is a litany of things that the right wing has done, the conservative movement has done to depress wages in this country, all the way to the point where they have greased the skids for companies to outsource jobs overseas, destroy our manufacturing sector and other sectors in our economy, and allow Wall Street to run amok over wage earners in this country and, oh, by the way, park their money offshore so they don't pay their fair share in the United States Treasury. And they have purchased the United States Senate, except there's only a few left that know exactly what the hell is going on. There's Bernie Sanders, there's Sherrod Brown, there's Elizabeth Warren, and there might be a few others. But those 3 senators, Ted Kennedy-like, have talked about this for years. And now here we are. Here are the numbers. The Pew Research Center's report says that 120 million Americans are in the middle class. 121.3 million are in the lower and upper income households in this country. So the middle class is no longer the majority in this country. And a lot of it has to do with the attack on labor. The income bracket increased 25 to 29%. The high income earners in this country since 1971 has gone up 4 percentage points. We have not seen any kind of movement like that in the middle class in this country. So we have to decide if disposable income and educational goals can be reached by families as we continue to split up economically Americans in the workplace. The only thing that's going to save this country is collective bargaining and voices in the workplace, and yet we are facing, in some 26 plus states, I believe, right-to-work legislation that would destroy workers' rights in the workplace. And if you look at the statistics, you will clearly see that right-to-work states underperform for the middle class in this country wherever there is a right-to-work state. No one can speak to this better than Leo Gerard, who is the President of International Steelworkers. Mr. Gerard, good to have you back with us.
Good to be on the show with you, Ed.
These numbers from the Pew Research Center pretty much document everything you've talked about and the aforementioned people in this piece, that there is no doubt that this is happening in America. Why and what reverses it?
Well, I think that the most important piece to reversing it, or the 2 most important pieces to reversing it, are, first of all, strengthening the workers' ability to join unions and do collective bargaining. Collective bargaining is really the most efficient process for people to sit down, discuss and negotiate and come to terms with the wealth that's being created or the services that are being provided in an efficient and factual way. And in fact, there is a lot of research, some of it done from years past by the Pew Research Foundation, that shows that collective bargaining is the most efficient way to manage a workplace, because unions or workplaces with unions have higher productivity levels. So that's been an ongoing known fact now for a generation. Then what we need to do is repatriate all the jobs that have been given away to corporate America, and given corporate America the ability to drop their plants wherever they have the least obligation to decent wages and working conditions. All we got to do is see what's happened in Mexico, to use that as an example, and what's happening to Mexico in the auto industry and the auto parts industry. Now we have almost as many cars being made in Mexico as are being made in the Midwest of America, and growing. all we have to do now is see what's going on with the TPP. I was reading an article yesterday where Vietnam is projecting 30% increase in their exports, and already because of the potential of TPP, global multinationals are looking at putting facilities into Vietnam where they can then export to America duty-free.
Well, advocates such as yourself and other union leaders have really made a statement on the Trans-Pacific Partnership to the point now that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is quoted in The Hill today saying that it might not happen during Obama's watch, that it may get kicked to the next administration, that it's not going to happen this year. And that was the first thing that McConnell said after the midterms. He said we can find common ground with the president on trade. That was one of the first things he talked about the day after the midterm elections. Well, all the advocacy work and all the educational work that has taken place in this country to get lawmakers to wake up and realize how this is going to gut American jobs. We're going to do deals with countries with Sharia law. I mean, this is the worst trade deal. Every single union in this country is against it. It looks like, and if someone had said that this is where we were going to be a year ago, I think I would have been surprised. Conventional wisdom wasn't they were going to get it, but advocacy work has turned this around. Would you agree?
Ed, I'm convinced that this trade deal is so bad, and that if you look at history of previous trade deals, whether they be NAFTA, whether they be the Central American deal, whether it be the deal with Korea and Colombia and all of those trade deals, the historical record on that is so bad that American voters, the average American in the public, has said, whoa, you're not going to trick us again this time. And I can tell you that I'm extremely proud. I'm a member of the President's Advisory Committee on Trade, along with President Dennis Williams from the UAW and Jim Hoffa from the Teamsters. And we authorized a dissenting proposal, on TPP. And that's gone to the president. We've got the Labor Advisory Committee on Trade, and we've submitted a 32-page document pointing out in detail not only the shortcomings of the TPP, but the stuff that will take us backwards, like, for example, rules of origin. The administration can't hide behind the rules of origin issue any longer and say no, because we just saw the WTO has told America the $500 million fine if they don't remove the labeling on food, rules of origin labeling on food. So that's a perfect example.
That's a perfect example of how an international tribunal can circumvent American law and tell us what to do.
And look at it. That's one of the concepts of the whole trade agenda pushed by the global multinationals. Whether it's the European trade deal called TTIP, whether it's the deal they want to do with China on services, all of these deals are designed to be able to bypass the national sovereignty of the nations that are involved. So you don't get to take a trade case to the Congress or to the USTR. You've got to take it to the WTO, and if the party that claims they were injured wants, they can sue the country.
Yeah.
So you got an example in Australia where the tobacco industry is suing the Australian government for lost profits because the Australian government wants to put on the outside of a cigarette package the danger to your health.
And that's exactly what Mitch McConnell is telling the White House right now. You got to back off on tobacco. It's all special interest, but it's all coming home to roost right now, isn't it, Leo?
It hopefully is, and we're going to work hard. And the fact is that the documents that we've provided, whether it's our dissenting document on the TPP from the President's Advisory Committee, whether it's our LAC, Labor Advisory Committee on the Trade, sent out, what we do is we document in factual detail why this is wrong. And look at the rules of origin on auto and auto parts. And people are can easily get confused. To be considered a domestically produced, or I won't call it domestically produced, if you consider produced in a way that allows you to not be having to have a duty on it, a tariff, it has to be made at a certain percentage by the TPP countries. Mm-hmm. So now we'll say that in auto parts, it's somewhere between 35% and 45%, depending on which parts of the auto parts. Well, let me put it this way. If it's 45% from TPP countries, that means part of that 45% could come from Singapore. I mean, it could come from Malaysia. It could come from Brunei, where there's Sharia law. It could come from Vietnam, where unions are outlawed, and most recently one of the high-profile union organizers in Vietnam was put in jail. It can come from those countries. So that means of that 45%, a whole bunch of it could come from TPP countries that are, 26 cents an hour.
Sure.
Or it can then, the additional 55% could come from China. Mm-hmm. So China gets a seat at the table without ever being at the table. This is crazy.
It is absolutely outrageous. And the good news is a year and a half ago, and we started pounding on this, a lot of members in the House didn't know what the hell we were talking about. And it's been
we're driving the agenda now.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Driving the agenda to the point where the Republicans are backing off because they're going home hearing from constituents that this is a bad deal. And
at our plan from the Steelworkers, we just finished our board meeting. We issued a unanimous statement on, and hopefully you can get it off our website.
Sure. On
our Steelworker statement on the TPP. Again, factually represented with folks can go and just read the true facts, not the baloney. And then on top of that, our plan is to create a structure where we're going to identify every congressional district where there's a substantial amount of industrial capacity going on. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to train people, and we're going to have those people go into those congressional districts, whether they're Republican or Democrat, and hold forums, educate the public, and then ask the public to take some step to educate their member of Congress. And I think the more we do that, the more the public is going to see that this is a bad deal that's going to cost not only them their jobs, but cost the jobs of future generations.
United Steelworkers International President Leo Gerard, great friend, great resource. Keep up the fight, my friend. Hope you're feeling better. Thanks, Leo.
Thank you very much, brother.
All right.
Bye-bye.
This is Ed Schultz, News and Commentary. There's one other political facet that's very interesting here dealing with this issue. The Bernie Sanders campaign forced the hand of Hillary Clinton to take a stand on Keystone and on trade. She's come out and said that she is against the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Now Mitch McConnell is having cold feet on it, saying it might get kicked to the next administration. Well, if that's the case, it would seem to me that all candidates have to restate their position on the Trans-Pacific Partnership to make it crystal clear that if they're president, this isn't going to go through. Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team bring you this production. Have a great weekend. We're back Monday.